Welcome to Subramani. There are some advantages and disadvantages of being in the public. One thing which happened is friend's friend is a big builder who's made tons of money. There's no doubt about that. He has a son who's about 28, 29 years of age, well educated. Who wanted some investment advice. Now this obviously is broad level advice, because I was not going to sit with him and say this is the NAV and this is what you're going to do. So the father's mandate was that I made money investing very conservatively. Father did not even go beyond much beyond mutual funds, very rare, little bit of equity mutual funds, but largely money made in real estate. Okay, he used to do two things. He used to buy projects held up with smaller builders who couldn't manage it, and you take it, complete it and make money. That was some draconian 30% kind of return you would get. He would borrow at very low rates, and he would deploy it at reasonably good returns. In these kind of distress sale, he knew he had a team, blah blah blah. This is how the father made money. But the son invests in gold, invests in everything that you can think of, right? He goes and puts money in crypto, in gold, in equity mutual funds, in direct equity. Of course, real estate he doesn't touch, because that is his father's domain, and he knows that his father does a better job. So many of these things, including he bought some distressed business, he's funded some, I wouldn't say venture capital, but vulture capital. So some of this worked, some of this didn't work, and he's just 29, 30 years of age perhaps. So he came to meet me, and the father's mandate was, boss, isko samjhao, make him understand what he should be doing. So the son wanted to know is what he is doing is wrong, and I said, look, there is no one way of getting rich. There is no one way of becoming a billionaire also, right? There are many ways. One is the Charles Branson way of saying, I will enter everything. And Charles Branson had this advantage of not knowing what will work and what will not work, but he had the guts to enter everything. And very what I would say right brain approach of saying, okay, I will do this, I will whatever. He started off with Virgin Records, and then I don't think it's earning much money from music today, but it's got an airline, it has got hotel, it's become a huge group, right? Now you take the other person who is very methodical, how he will buy, what he will do, right? To say Warren Buffett. To say Warren Buffett is wrong is would be ridiculous. But to say Charles Branson is wrong is also going to be ridiculous. Both have done completely different routes. Both have taken completely different routes. Buffett, for example, is a big investor and big believer in the American method, and largely invests in the US. But John Templeton took a view that you should invest in the emerging market. So he invested a lot of money in Japan, got out of Japan, invested in China, invested afterwards, of course, 25 years ago, they came to India, right? So they did something very different. So each person does something very different. Some people say, oh, this is my competence, I will do only this. So I told him, look, your father believed that his competence was real estate. He did not want to take a risk doing anything else. And he has been successful. So it's not as though father is not successful. And it is not as though the son is not successful. Son has made money in crypto and realized it. So son knows something right? He's from a business family. So some things he has got it right. But now he wanted to organize it. So I said, look, if you don't want a financial guru, coach, whatever you want to call, then you invest in an index fund. And you also pick up some stocks on your own. Some shares will never reach the index, right? If you want a Bosch, or if you want a LMW, or some shares which are too small, maybe you want to pick up an Ajanta Soya, which has got a sub 400 crore market cap, right? Any of these shares will never reach the index, or will take a very long time to reach the index, or even the PNG. Right? So you can pick stocks outside, and you can pick up very high price stocks, you can pick up very low price stocks, you can do whatever you want based on your own reading or your own research team, etc., etc. So if you don't have access to any of that, it's going to be very difficult. So in your case, what you can do is put the big portion of your money in the index, right? Why am I giving him this advice? Because he does not have any good equity advisor. So he may have brokers, but he does not have a good equity advisor, and he is not looking for one. So I said, in such a case, you should put bulk of your equity money, or bulk of your equity money in the index, and pick up individual stocks. And I said something very important for you. Don't for him rather, don't bother doing checking on your annual returns. Maybe you check 15 months, maybe you check from June to July, maybe you check whatever, or you check from July to June, whatever, 12 months, 13 months, 15 months. If you get lumpy returns, that's fine. You get it from one geography, that is fine. You're not answerable to a board of trustees, but be answerable to yourself. Set for yourself some benchmarks and say, am I getting a return of at least as much as the index is giving me in assets other than equity index, right? Or is it going to give me lump sum? If I buy gold, I don't have to worry on a day-to-day basis. I know after 10 years or 12 years, this is the kind of return that I will get, and I'm happy with that return, right? Some portion of your money will be in savings bank account, some money will be in gold, some money will be in property on which you're getting rent, some money will be in fixed deposits or debt funds. You have to have your own goals, you have to have your own perception, what returns am I going to get. But in equity, you need to have a benchmark. And even in other asset classes where you don't know how much should the benchmark be, if you are doing it for the thrill of it, then the amount has to be very small. If you are doing it for getting some serious, reasonable returns, then it has to at least match that of the index, because putting money in the index is not a very difficult thing, right? You pick up a BSE 200, you pick up a BSE 30, it does not matter, or a Nifty 50. Any of those, any index, but at least match the index, or you pick up 4-5 good funds, schemes, and see how are you performing against them on a 5-year basis or on a 3-year basis. So it will take a long time before you know whether what you are doing is right. And at that stage, if you find that you are doing well, then just continue. Or if you find that you are underperforming, your 1 year is bad, your 3 years is bad, your 5 years is bad, taken individually also it is not great, then there is no point in trying to fight the market. Then you can be the market. Nobody stops you from indexing. But check whether you are outperforming the index, because it hurts people's ego to say, oh, you don't know anything, why don't you put it in the index, right? I'm not even saying that. I said you put money in the index, that's what will work for you. You don't look at what will work for me. What works for me is something very different. There are big PMS managers with whom I have discussions, who come and say, this is the research we have done, this is what we are doing. We are going to be 30% or 40% in large cap, then we are going to be in mid cap. We are also going to take some small cap exposure in our PMS scheme. What does it feel like? I know that these are people who have 20-30 people in the research team who come talk to me, and so I get that angle, right? So for me, it is easier to pick up stocks. Otherwise, the best advice would always be put money in the index. But here is a person who has got the ability to take risk. He's got a father who does not take any risk at all, in the sense that all his money is in the business which he knows. So his circle of competence is real estate and the local government, right? You need a lot of permissions, etc. He handles that, and he handles that very well. And both of them anyway have enough money for the rest of the next 7-8 generations. It's not about money. It's a question of, do you want to diversify your portfolio? So I said, look at Branson, look at Buffett. Both of them are doing something very different. But Buffett also has a company which invests in various other businesses, right? So Buffett is more like a Mukesh Ambani than like Naren or Prashant Jain, right? He's not a fund manager, he's a business owner. So this guy is again a business owner. He can take a company private, he can do all those things. So I said, you have all the strengths of a Buffett or a Branson, you have to choose. But if you don't have benchmarks, you might suddenly be underperforming. If you're going to get savings bank return in crypto, or you're going to get savings bank plus 0.5% in your own stock picking skills, and you're underperforming the index, then there is no point. So we had this nice conversation, and now I don't know what he's going to do, because people come talk and they do what they want. So everything is fine. I mean, I'm not getting into he should listen to me, but these were my broad parameters. I thought I should share it with you. Thank you.